What if tomorrow the climate changed everything? Rising seas, droughts, mass migrations. Would your job survive? Would your town? This isn't science fiction. It's a scenario that we may be facing right now. And the question is, are you ready? Let's find out what it really means when climate reshapes civilization and what you can do to prepare. Welcome to another episode of the What If Tomorrow podcast. I'm Philip.
And I'm Mark.
And tonight, we are looking at what happens if climate catastrophes reshape society, which is something I believe is legitimate, especially with the current situations going on over the last couple of months. We were going to do this show the last 2 weeks ago. But I was feeling under the weather because the heat, man, it just zapped me. It was nasty, which, hey, fits right into what we're talking about.
Right.
But first things first, let's play this so we can get this out of the way, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Mark with What If Tomorrow and What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. Be sure to check out our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com. And look at our cool merch. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and more. Our affiliates are Duke Cannon, EMP Shield, My Patriot Supply, and Conflicted the Game. Or check out buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow and buy us a coffee. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and share on both Facebook and YouTube. It helps get our content out to others and help our channel grow. Now on with the show.
All right. Man, we were just talking backstage. Here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be looking... Hey, Jess. We're going to be looking at 5 years.
Yep.
August of 2020, we started this thing. It's just been a heck of a good ride, man. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah. Hey, Jess, while you're watching... August 11th would be the next What If Tomorrow show. We're going to ask you and Pam to jump on with us. We're going to kind of do a 5-year celebration. We've also invited Ben and Joe from UFO Garage on. I haven't heard back from them yet, but we're going to be talking about some current events in the alien category. So it's going to kind of be on the fringe, and the What If Tomorrow podcast gets back together, plus hopefully UFO Garage. But it'll be interesting because the news is kind of going crazy right now with it, and we'll see where it goes from there. But what we're talking about tonight is the climate. I guess you could be, or I could be categorized as a quote-unquote climate denier. Is climate change happening? Absolutely, I believe it is. Is it man-made?
Who knows?
I think, maybe there's a little bit of an effect to it, but I think it's cyclical. And I'll get that disclaimer first.
Well, see, Phil, the most common thing about climate is that it is always changing.
Right.
The
70s was what, global cooling?
Yeah, they were talking about global cooling in the 70s. We were going to have to spread coal dust out on the ice packs to keep the glaciers from growing because we were going through a cold cycle.
Right.
It was getting colder and colder and colder. And like you said, I believe it's cyclical. But whatever the cause, I don't care what causes it. It is going to change. It has been changing. It will continue to change like a yo-yo. And either way it goes, it's going to cause issues like we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah. Just recently, look what's going on. We've had the floods, especially down in Texas.
Oh yeah, those were horrible.
It's unfortunate. And our prayers go out to them and their families. and the people still working to recover. I mean, it kind of, we had Asheville, was it last year before? Out in North Carolina with that hurricane
Right.
that come up through, and hurricanes never get up that far, but this one did. All the destruction there's people still trying to recover there. The heat dome, I mean, we're under right now. That's a normal summer in southeastern Kansas. I mean, it's just nasty hot.
The humidity is a little higher than normal, but
yep. But even I've seen videos of people in England, like, it's just way too hot. For them over there, yeah, but it's like 85 degrees. Like, man, I'd take an 85-degree day. But their average, I seen something, their average humidity over there is like 55%. Our average is like 70 or 80% in the summer. It's just nasty,
Yeah.
And something I read the other day, it's kind of related to this, but they say corn raises the humidity significantly. And I'm sitting there looking at my windows, front and back. I'm surrounded by corn right now. It's crazy. Just because of the fields and stuff that are around me.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. It looks good this year. All the rain we've had. I've heard something like 40-some inches of rain since April this year.
Yeah.
And that's more than our yearly average. It's been crazy here. But yeah, there's flooding all over. I've seen Kentucky, out even more east and all that. New Mexico, like a week after the Texas flood. I tend to agree with you, Jess. Jess, she said climate change is real. Did we cause it? No, it's completely natural. Everything on Earth shifts and changes. Absolutely, it does. I agree with that 100%. I mean, you can go into the fossil record.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They can do drill core samples and all that. I mean, Antarctica was green at one point in time.
So was the Sahara.
Right. So the climate does change. But we're not really talking about whether climate change is real or whether it's not. You can't predict it. I mean, weather prediction has gotten better.
Right.
Is it 100%? Absolutely not. I mean, you have the human factor in there. You're always going to make mistakes because of the human factor. Do I sound quiet to you guys?
You do sound a little quiet.
Okay. I don't want to whisper or nothing, but is that any better?
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Good. I'm not blowing you out now, am I?
No, you're good. Hey, Enzo.
Hey, Enzo. But yeah, we're constantly trying to predict the weather and the climate and all that, and I think they're using good science, but like I said, the human factor may cause an issue there. But are we looking at a climate collapse? I don't think so. I mean, I'm by no stretch of the imagination a climate expert. I sincerely don't pay a lot of attention to it. I mean, because in my mind, the climate is where we're at right now. I mean, it's hot, it's humid, and that's about as far as it goes. In October, it's going to start cooling off. Now, come wintertime, it's going to be stupid cold or it's going to be a warm winter. Who knows? I mean,
yeah,
it's just kind of everybody from a certain area knows the weather in their area. They know how it works.
We're in Kansas. We can have all 4 seasons in one day.
Oh, for sure, man. Absolutely. I mean, I think this weekend we're talking like highs in the lower 80s and lows in the low to mid 60s. I mean, that's like paradise.
Yeah.
So, sure, you have the flukes, you have the odd weather for this time of year or wherever you're at, and I truly believe everybody does. I mean, it's just the weather patterns. Do they seem more active this year? I would say they do.
Right.
I would absolutely say they do, but is it because of climate change? I don't know. Natural, maybe. I've heard people say that where we live is going to be a desert in the next 100 years or so. I mean, okay, we'll see. Frankly, I'm not going to be here 100 years from now, so.
Well,
I mean, is it going to affect me?
Historically, that is not off the table because
right.
When the Spaniards came across Kansas,
they called it the Great American Desert because the buffalo had destroyed so much of the ground cover that blowing and drifting soil made most of this area into a desert.
Right.
Most people don't realize by the buffalo herds being thinned, it actually improved the ecology of this area. Now, did they go too far? Hell yes. But did they need to be thinned? Also hell yes.
Yep. But we're really looking at tonight of what it's going to do to society. You know, if it's truly happening, which I'm not saying is impossible, you know, it's absolutely possible. But let's just do what we do here. We go worst case scenario.
Absolutely.
Go, you know, worst case scenario, it's happening. Changes are happening. I mean, I'll sit there. There's not a day that goes by here recently that something big is happening. Whether it, that's what we were just talking about a little bit ago. Enzo, before he jumped on, was in the 70s. They were talking about global cooling, you know, an ice age coming. You know, but if we go worst case scenario and think about it, because really when you're into preparedness and things like that, you focus on that worst case scenario. It's not being negative, but you want to be prepared for that worst case scenario. Chances are that worst case scenario isn't going to happen, but you want to look at that situation. It's okay, and you want to war game it. That's right, Enzo. Next time, be on time.
You snooze, you lose, Enzo.
But I mean, you think kind of worst case scenario. It's not a negative mindset. It's a preparedness mindset, in my opinion, because you're wargaming. You're thinking about, okay, how could this turn out? And like I said, you're not going to hit it 100%. It's not. Chances are it's not going to be worst case. You're going to fall back, but if you're prepared for worst case, you're going to be prepared for the minor stuff. You know, I mean, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the droughts, you know, things like that.
The 40-foot snowfall winter.
Right. You know, which is absolutely possible here.
I don't. So. Most of y'all who listen to us are too young to remember, but back in the 70s when they were talking about the coming ice age, it was not uncommon in a winter for me to be snowed in at my parents' house for over a week. So what we had at the house was what we had for a week because the roads were closed.
Yeah, my road, if we get a decent snow, I'm snowed in here just because of the way it drifts.
Yeah.
I mean, was it last year or year before we got snowed in, but you could see gravel a quarter mile either way from the house, but we couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Until the road grader come through and knocked it all into my driveway. Then I had to go out and get it cleared out. But if we look at worst case scenario, and you can take any scenario you want, you know, you got to ask yourself, are people going to adapt, or is it just totally going to collapse and they're going to have to migrate into the bigger cities, or which personally I'd prefer not to. And that's kind of what we do here, is to help you become more self-reliant. But depending on the situation, you know, if it's what they call them, a bomb cyclone or whatever in the wintertime, you know, when they dump a ton of snow and all that, what happens if it goes into an ice age and we get snow everywhere? Are people going to migrate? I mean, are we going to go back to being hunter-gatherers? Right. You know, what was it? The Day After Tomorrow, the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, they saw it coming and they're like, no, you're going to have to evacuate everybody below this line, you know, and you're going to have your standouts, or standalones, or whatever you want to call them. You're going to have the people that, no, I'm not going to go, I'm going to stay. What was it, the guy on Mount St. Helens? I've lived here all my life. It's never blown up. It's not going to do now. It happened. And, I mean, on a side note, it may be happening again with Mount Shasta and up in Alaska. The whole ring of fire is shaking right now. I'm seeing a lot of things about Yellowstone and all that. Well, that will cause the climate to change.
Oh, yeah.
Even
You
if
could
it's
get your ice
temporary.
age.
Right. Even if it's temporary, it'll cause the climate to change. If all these volcanoes go off like they're talking about,
You could have a decade where the temperature drops significantly year round.
right? Well, hey, George.
There is my good friend, George Johnson.
He's about to retire.
And he deserves it. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
Finer gentleman you will never meet,
Um,
folks.
Yep. Good man. Good man. But anyway, so let's say all these volcanoes go off. We have an ice age. Okay. Depending on how long, I mean, you may be looking at a nuclear winter type scenario to where
Right.
it's going to drown out the sun, especially Yellowstone. I mean, that's going to be,
That's going to be huge.
5-6 years. You're going to lose the ability to grow stuff.
Right. Mass
You know,
starvation.
Yep. Water issues. You name it.
Acid rain.
Yep. Concrete, just from the ash. Ash and water mixing is going to turn into concrete. Things like that. So people are going to have to migrate. Right. Enzo said in 1257, the eruption of the Somalis caused a year without summer in Europe, crop failures and famines.
Yep. Millions of people died.
Yeah. So I mean, it happens. It's known in the geological history. It's known to happen. Even the super volcanoes around the world are known to go off and cause many ice ages. So yeah, people are going to have to migrate. I mean, we are on the edge of the
Zone of death.
ash. No, not the asphalt. What am I? Yeah, we're on the very edge of it.
Of the pyroclastic
with Yellowstone.
edge. Yeah.
There we go.
So,
So we would have to move. We would have to migrate out, to where we could grow food and try to survive. I mean,
Right.
Are there ways around it? Yes, there is. I mean, not really around it, but are there ways to protect yourself as best you can? Sure.
absolutely.
But if you have an incident where the sun is blacked out, an asteroid impact or something like that, plants are going to die off.
Yeah.
Even whether you go to cities or not. I mean, if the food supply is hit hard, you're going to have a lot of people starving. I don't know that I'd personally want to go to a city with a bunch of starving people.
Yeah.
Honestly. When it comes to disaster zones where zero, ground zero, I mean, again, depending on the situation, Yellowstone, you don't want to go to ground zero. Yeah, I mean, it's just
No.
not going to be an option.
Yep. That'll be bad.
Let's see. So yeah, cities aren't going to be an option. Borders will shift. I truly believe that.
Oh,
Borders are gonna
absolutely.
shift because it's not going to be, or it's going to be a no man's land in that aspect. I mean, yeah, we're kind of relating Yellowstone to climate change, but that's kind of the only example I can really think of that's truly going to be an overnight change.
I've got
borders
one.
are shift. What you got?
Asteroid strike on either of the polar caps.
Yeah.
That would cause an instant melt off and raise the sea level significantly.
Yeah.
Not as bad as
Absolutely.
the one 12,000 years ago, but still significant.
Yeah, that would cause sea levels to rise, like you said. So there goes your coastlines, and then you'd have
Most of your big cities.
ash fallout and all that. So it could cause like a nuclear winter type situation. So again, you'd have your die off. You wouldn't be able to grow food for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's some food you could find or whatever, which in turn, I mean, that's going to upend the entire food chain.
Yep.
The animals
Potatoes will grow well in the shade.
Right.
You're going to have to get used to eating potatoes every meal.
But with people moving and migrating to get to where a safer climate or moving for food, I mean, you're going to look at your what we got here? Down Reno said it's amazing why they are poisoning us in ground soil, and the ground soil is contaminated. The war is not fought with bombs; it's fought with pesticides and seeds. I can definitely see that, man. I if you look at Monsanto and things like that, that's kind of a whole different topic. But again, I mean, it's kind of the same, because if they have this, I've read that people are being or have been sued for using their product even though they didn't plant it, but it cross-pollinated with their product.
Right.
Things like that. But we're looking, something just came out 25th, A1 Atlas incoming. The 25th, there's another extra solar system object coming towards Earth. They're expecting it to be near in November. We're going to touch on that in the next show with everybody. But again, I mean, these are things that, as people into preparedness, we should think about. But anyway, when you get a bunch of refugees and people migrating away from the disaster zone or migrating to the food, what kind of government is going to rise up out of that? I mean, there's going to be different types of community governments, because communities are going to form, people are going to stop, they're going to resettle different areas, what kind of governments are going to reform, especially if it's a worldwide event?
Or will it just be chaos and anarchy?
Right.
Which I would expect, whatever forms, there will be a period of chaos and anarchy lasting perhaps several years.
Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to step up, try to take control, whether it be a fascist, or I can't see if I can say it. Words aren't working again. Fascistic form of government where they totally control all the supplies, the food, all this stuff, and make people work for crumbs. I can see that happening. Depending on where you're at, they are hard, very hard. But yeah, I can definitely see the different types of governments bringing back up. I mean, go totally worst case. You could have warlords, Mad Max style warlords, or things like that.
Right, little kingdoms popping up. Pardon us, folks. Phil is coughing up a lung, and so he will be back with us momentarily.
Oh,
feeling better?
For the commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe for now.
Dead air is bad.
It is. It is, absolutely. It'll be one large bomb for our reset. Yeah, and it could. Yeah, it could be a nuclear type situation that we're looking at. Could cause climate change. I mean,
right.
Because if one country sends them, the other countries are going to send them. So yeah, we're looking at again a nuclear winter type situation. So you're going to want to get away from wherever that zone's at. And I wouldn't doubt that, George. I wouldn't doubt that a bit. The IRS will be the first to rise up. They got to get their money somehow.
We'll be
But
living
what
in the
are
kingdom of
some-
Kansas.
Let's look at something I've seen a lot of recently since the floods in Texas. People are talking a lot about geoengineering. I know it happens to some extent. I don't know that I could, blame it totally on the issues down in Texas or all the floods and all the rain everybody's gotten this year. I mean, it could be a weather pattern. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not into geoengineering. I have heard an interview from one of the guys doing the cloud seeding and things like that. And whether it's true or not, I don't know. But this guy was saying that they cannot seed anything if there's no clouds. He said if they do seed clouds, it's kind of a microburst situation. Rain dumps, then the clouds dissipate. So like I said, I mean, obviously with the situation in Texas, people in that area or in that business of cloud seeding, of course, they're going to try to divert. So I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, definitely, let's see. I don't know how to pronounce the name on there. Reno. I don't know. I'm not sure. It says he lives by the Desert Research Institute out here in Reno. And said they teach you all about it. It's a tour. And I'd be interested in seeing that. Just to see how it works. But I know this guy was saying, I can't remember his name. He was on Sean Ryan. But he was talking about how the amount of, what is it, sodium, I don't remember the chemical they use. It's some sodium something. I don't remember what it is. But he's saying the amount that they use to seed the clouds is basically like a bag of Skittles. So it's not very much. There is a science to it, definitely. And I'm by no means an expert on it. This is just my commentary on it. But do I believe geoengineering is absolutely a thing? Yes, I absolutely do. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of theories out there about DARPA and all that, doing weather control, controlling the hurricanes. I don't know.
Using microwaves on the ocean to create.
Right. Yeah. I don't know anything about it, so I really can't commentate a lot on that. With that, is it possible? I think in the last 5 years of doing this show, we've pretty much found out anything's possible.
Pretty much.
All the deep dives and things we've done on some really out there subjects, anything's possible. And would I put it past DARPA and the government? No, I wouldn't. Not with some of the projects and stuff that they've done, over.
That's a whole nother show, Phil.
Yeah, it absolutely is. In the 50s and 60s, the crap that they did to the American people. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. If they can do it, they're going to test it on us. And moving on, something else we can look at is the role of technology and predictive models and the way the infrastructure is built, which this is something we've talked about a lot on this show, is AI. I think AI is going to have a lot to do with the future innovation of even climate models or climate prediction, even redesigning energy grids and anything related to this. But again, it's going to be up to the programmers, on what they believe. That's my hang up on this, on AI, and it's an extremely useful tool.
Oh yeah, I've found it extremely useful since it's become mainstream.
Yeah. Something was it last week? Kind of getting off on this tangent, but it was either last week or week before last. I heard, the new Grok came out. Grok 4 came out. I haven't messed with it yet. Hey, Sylvian. They said something along the lines, I have to go back and re-listen to it, but something along the lines of this new Grok 4 is almost twice as fast, twice as smart as Grok 3. And they're predicting by the end of the year that this Grok 4, it's something like 14%, or my numbers are all messed up, but it's something around, it's close to 15% on the way to AGI, artificial general intelligence. They're saying by the end of this year, as smart as this thing is right now, that it will be able to develop new chemical compositions for like medicines for human use and things like that to try to improve our health and our lifestyles. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. Then ChatGPT's coming out and saying it's moving on. Then just recently, like the last couple of days, Elon Musk came out and said the singularity's already happened. He says, look at the monkeys. And a lot of people are thinking that this has something to do with, I can't remember what it's called now. The chip, that they put in the brain and all that. I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah.
I want to say Starlink, but no, that's
Neuralink.
Neuralink, there we go. But they're saying it's talk to that because as fast as the information is being downloaded in the monkeys they're testing this on, the monkeys are getting smarter. I mean, we saw this in Planet of the Apes, didn't we? But but who knows?
You damn filthy ape.
But I can see that being a huge player as long as the disaster isn't so big that it takes out the servers and all that. And maybe that's the point of them. Maybe God is saying, hey, remember the Tower of Babel? I stopped it here. Okay, you're trying it again. So I'm going to wipe it out. That's just my thoughts. That's my, so,
well, I mean,
but yeah, I think
yeah, could we have a fall of civilization? I think we could.
I think we could, just caused by climate. Yeah, I absolutely think
it's happened time and time again. Look at the Mayans. They were wiped out because of drought. Or was it the Inca? One of them was wiped out because of drought. The whole cities just packed up and moved away.
Yeah, I think that was the Mayan. That was the Aztecs, wasn't it? Or the
one of those.
Yeah, there's like no trace of them. I don't remember.
We just find the empty cities. So, I mean,
yeah, that's the one thing. Del Reno. That's one thing that shocked me is they've been seeding clouds for 60 years. I mean, I'd heard about it, hadn't done a lot of research into it, and quite honestly, I haven't done a ton of research into it here recently. But I didn't realize they'd been doing it for that long.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I remember watching shows where they were talking about how cloud seeding is going to change everything. Popular Science was talking about it. I just realized that I graduated in 1985, so that's many decades ago when I was looking at that stuff.
Dang, dude, you're getting old.
Yeah, it's 2025, dude.
I know it. I just realized that. Yeah, I just realized that. You know, I'm knocking on the door of 50, so got a couple years.
Well, 2 years from next month, I'll be 60.
Man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another good point, Del Reno. So what's crazy to me is the pole shift and the speed at which it's happening. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure what kind of impact that's going to have, though.
yeah, a magnetic pole shift, I don't know that it really will have a lot, you know, but if it's a continental pole shift or something like that would definitely tremendously affect the climate. You know, I mean, if we, you know, it's happened before in the past, you know, the poles
Yeah.
have shifted and whatnot, but usually it's the magnetic pole shift, and that happens
Yeah.
all the time.
The thing
in a
about the
geological
magnetic
scale.
pole, the thing about the magnetic pole shift is it weakens the magnetic field. So if we had CMEs, that could wipe out our grids. That's another. It's a different kind of
Yeah.
weather, but space weather could cause a huge climate disaster and change everything.
Yeah, it absolutely could.
I mean, look at the CMEs we've been having. We've been seeing the northern lights down as far as Kansas.
Right.
Now what happens when that magnetic field weakens and we have another solar maximum with all these solar storms? Our grid better be hardened or we won't have one.
Right. And as far as I know, they're not hardening the grid.
No, they're not.
I mean, we've talked a few times about CMEs and EMPs, and that's really kind of the same idea. I mean, we're talking worst case scenario, and you know, more examples are popping up as we're having the conversation. But you know, that's another thing to think about. You know, what happens if your grid totally goes down and is fried?
And that's weather. It's solar weather
Yeah, it absolutely is.
combined with a magnetic pole shift. It could be devastating.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I think, you know, we've talked about it a few times that, you know, with the Carrington event.
Yeah.
Had we had technology then, I think there'd have been some serious issues.
Oh, yeah. If we'd had today's
Serious issues.
technology then, civilization would have been
Yeah.
set back 100 years.
Yeah, easy. Land hurricanes. Quoting Alex Jones. Land hurricanes.
Isn't that what a tornado is?
But, yeah, well, I seen a picture today. It was like of a low weather system, and it looked like a hurricane, but it was over land. But I think that's kind of what pushed into Asheville. I mean, that hurricane was just had so much moisture and so much energy in it. It just pushed that far up. Definitely a climate catastrophe. But anyway, get back on track. We're looking at other types of roles for technology in that instance. The tech that pulls water from the air. I've seen like water bottles and stuff that'll do that. Man, you could have a lake full here in Kansas. You know, the humidity and all that.
Oh, yeah.
If you had that tech, you'd have a ton of water.
If you want fresh water, all you need is one of those air conditioners that vents outside through the big hose with got the water drain. They'll create, and this time of year, they'll create 10 gallons of fresh water a day.
Oh, yeah. You know, I remember my grandparents, you know, they had a window unit, and they had a bucket under there. I mean, you know, my grandparents lived through the Depression and all that, so they conserved water, you know. I mean, they used water or collected. I mean, they had rain barrels, and they had, you know, this bucket underneath their air conditioner. You know, the dog would come by and get a cold drink of water, you know, I mean, or whatever they needed it for. But yeah, I mean the text there with the water from AirTech. Like I said, they have water bottles now that will pull it out of the moisture out of the air. Vertical farming. I have not looked a lot into this, but I did get my wife. It's a thing called green stock, and it stacks on itself. I don't remember. I think it's 6 or 7 containers high, but there's small little. It's almost the shape of a clover leaf or something like that. I'll see if I can pull it up.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I'll make a few comments on vertical farming. If you use vertical farming techniques in a small greenhouse, you can produce a remarkable amount of food on a regular basis.
Oh, you absolutely can. And it's pretty neat. I mean,
and it's a minimal, really a minimal investment. For $2,000, I could probably set up and produce quite a bit of food with actually minimal work. You just need to have water. Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's, the containers, we've done, I think, lettuce and spinach in it. But you can plant whatever you want in there.
Our herb garden right
probably,
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They're probably 8-10 inches deep, probably 6-8 inches wide. As you can see, they kind of taper down, but they stack on each other. And sitting there trying to point at the picture, but it ain't working.
I can see them.
But you water to the top of it, and it all drains down into it. You can, but you don't have to water each bay. It holds a reservoir of water and it uses as it needed. It's a pretty neat little thing. I think it was like $150 or something like that on Amazon. Yeah, 160. Yeah. But it's really pretty neat. And I would advise anybody, if you're going to get into gardening, like you said, I mean, if you grow vertically, you could grow a ton of produce.
Oh, yeah.
Or herbs or things like that.
Oh, yeah. And they make those little greenhouses. There's some nice little ones for like $300 on Amazon. And if you use vertical farming in those little greenhouses, you could take care of fresh fruit and vegetables for a couple people. Maybe not a whole family, but 2 people easily.
Right.
And have them on a regular basis. And I would also invest in a seed vault. Yeah,
for sure. Stock up on seeds. I mean, definitely if they're in Mylar pouches, my wife, she's got a ton of seeds.
$25 for a 32 variety pack of heirloom vegetables and stuff. Use that with a greenhouse and vertical gardening. I mean, you can take care of yourself for a long time.
Yep.
You just need water and a little bit of labor.
Yeah.
And less labor than it does to actually till the soil and plant a traditional garden, really.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And we should have another talk about permaculture one of these days.
Yeah, we should. We need to. Something else to think about, synthetic food. I don't trust synthetic food personally.
Nope.
Especially because, I mean, if you look, I'm not trying to beat anybody up. I'm really not. But like the vegan options you have, like the vegan steak or well, if that's what you want to, it's what they call it. But, it's all fake. I mean, there's more ingredients in the vegan options than there are in just a steak.
Yeah.
Or hamburger.
More toxic. Yeah. Use of chemicals and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Low trust
So
there.
I mean, to me, yeah, I mean, to me, if I had to, yes, I would probably eat it if I had to. But that definitely wouldn't be my first choice. Um,
I would rather
we
eat beans all the time.
Yeah, you'd get more nutrients.
Yeah, and they keep well.
Uh, yeah. Something else to think about, and we've talked quite a bit about on the show, is solar and wind. Backup batteries, things like that. And I would recommend in that aspect. I mean, I don't know that I would put it on the grid. Like a decentralized grid or something like that. I would rather have my own individual units, whether it be a solar generator, or even, and you can buy those miniature wind turbines to provide power.
And they are really affordable, Phil.
They are
less than $200.
Yeah, I mean, I bought just a little jackery. I can't remember how many volt or amps it is or whatever. It's just a portable power pack that you can plug solar into, and that thing holds a charge for a good long while. I mean, we took it out camping this past spring, and we used it to like blow up our air mattress and things like. We used it minimally, but I think we charged some of our lights with it and all that. And I really want to put it to the test, get some like lamps and things like that to try out. But it really does well. I mean, I've used it on some projects out here. I'll throw it in the back of the side-by-side along with my battery chargers and things like that for my tools. And if I have a battery go low, I'll just put the charger in, and it lasts, I don't know, most of the day.
Right.
But if it starts running low, I plug in my solar panel that I've got a 100-watt solar panel that I plug into it. It charges it up within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Which is good off a 100-watt panel. But I would think along that lines of a decentralized energy grid. Have your own contained grid.
Yep. You may not be able to run your air conditioner, but you can run lights. You can have fresh water.
Yep.
So, just as an example, Phil's got the Jackery. I would like to have one. I've kind of built my own out of pieces. I've got solar panels that hang on my windows with suction cups. Several of them are set up so I can charge handheld radios, cell phones, lights. And I've got one that I can hook up to a deep cycle battery and charge a deep cycle battery and run an inverter. And it really does not take that long. If I were to start it in the morning, by the end of the day, I would pretty much have a full battery just off my 180-watt solar cell. So it doesn't have to be expensive. Although the nice ones like, the Jackery and some of the others, they are more efficient and a lot more portable. But that's something to think about. If you're someplace where you have moving water, small hydro generators are actually fairly affordable.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can make your own. I mean,
Yeah.
there's instructions out there. There's blueprints out there you can get and build your own.
You can buy a GM alternator and build your own wind turbine.
Yep.
Although I would get a magneto alternator with permanent magnet.
All right.
Where are we at
Moving
here?
on. Let's talk about. We've kind of started into it. Let's talk about preparedness in this new climate norm. Bug in versus bug out climate scenarios. We've already kind of touched on some of that. Is depending on the severity, like a Yellowstone situation, we got to try to get out of here.
Yeah, we're going to have to move.
But that is going to be a worldwide event. That's going to affect the entire world. Just the closer to the volcano you are, the worse off you're going to be. EMPs, that's a judgment call.
Yeah.
Whether you bug in or whether you bug out. If you have your own infrastructure and it's been stored in a Faraday cage, whether it be a steel trash can or steel barrel or something like that, if you have all that stuff stored where it's not affected by the EMP, you can then hook it up and you're ready to rock and roll. Something I want to share, and I'm going to shamelessly plug my YouTube channel, the Condition Ready YouTube channel.
Why not?
I was kind of tossing around something something, or it's an acronym I came up with. It's called PREPARE, right? The PREPARE acronym stands for Protection, Resources, Environment, Personal Aid, Awareness, Repair, and Extras. If you adapt with that knowledge, if you look at it, your protection, I mean, you can look at air filters, you can look at sun protection, you can look at flood barriers, depending on, again, the circumstance. Resources, that's your food, and that's your water, things like that. So you want to have shelf-stable food and clean water. Your environment, if you're going to an ice age, you want to have the clothing on hand that's going to keep you warm, or ways to create a shelter, ways to start a fire, actually pretty simple things. Personal aids, that's like your first aid. That's ways to filter like a smoke, if it's a wildfire or something like that. Ways to filter the air that you're breathing. Medicine or things for asthma, or excuse me, like I said, just your essential first aid kit. That's really what that is, that personal aid.
Yep.
Awareness. And really isn't that the epitome of preparedness, is just being aware of what's going on.
Keep your eyes open.
Understand the weather that's coming, or pay attention to the weather. Pay attention to alerts. And also, I mean, this is a kind of a new dynamic, but it's pay attention to climate maps. Are they predicting that the climate is going to change in your area? What you can do to prepare for that change. Like we were talking here earlier, I've heard that, where we live at, by the end of this century or whatever it was, is going to be a desert here within the next 100 years. Okay, so if that's the case, I want to see the evidence for it. The historical evidence, it's been there, done that. I mean, look at the Dust Bowl. Look at what you were talking about with the buffalo, Mark. Is it a possibility? Okay, how would you live in that new climate if the option was there for you to stay? Moving on to the next one, repair. The repair is the tools that you need to have on hand, whether it be a good multi-tool, or whether it be tools on your workbench. Like if Yellowstone comes off and you want to try to stop the ash, you'll want like duct tape, plastic to cover your windows, cover any draft spots, things like that, to keep the ash from coming in. A way to build like a decontamination site to get the ash off your clothing and all that. That way you're not tracking it in your house, which is going to cause respiratory issues.
Air filtration.
I mean, it's all air filtration. I mean, it's all really ties in together. And then for your extras, things to think about, like you said, Mark, seeds, a seed vault, have that. Have a map for your area, or the area if you choose, paper. The area where you're going to bug out, if you have to bug out and how far you have to bug out, have maps for every step of the way. Have barter items on hand. That way, once the disaster moves on, so to speak, you have, and the economy is gone and all that. You have those tools there, those items there to help maybe feed you or give you necessary items that you need to have on hand, whether it be meds or what have you.
Yep.
It's just simple things to think about. And personally, I really like the acronym because it really breaks it down simple to where you can look at it and say, okay, what do I have in this category, and what do I need to have this category covered? You like I said, you want to build your kit, whether it be food storage, whether it be water storage, or anything like that. Again, this whatever scenario you want to prepare for. I mean, take your pick. But like Yellowstone, that's a big one. You're going to want to store water because all the ash is going to poison the water.
Yeah, it will be undrinkable.
A good way to filter water, to boil water. Because it'll be able to kill you because it'll be hydrogen cyanide or something like that coming out of it.
Sulfuric acid.
So really,
he's losing the line again, folks.
Sorry. So really, you want to? Yeah, I did. But think about what you want on hand. Are you ready for a flood if you live in an area that floods? Are you ready for that? If you're in an area for wildfires where you may have to bug out, is your bag ready to go? Is the food up to date? Do an audit on your bag or your preps every 6 months. Rotate out what is bad or what's near going bad. Are you ready for a heat wave? What happens? I mean, this is a real possibility with the advent of AI. Over the next several years, it's going to consume more and more of the power in the power grid. And as fast as it's moving, I don't think they're going to be able to get all the power they need built to reduce the strain on the power grid.
So you're going to look at rolling brownouts, rolling blackouts.
Right. What happens? I'll go ahead and finish your thought, Mark. Sorry. Oh, I think he froze up, or I froze up, one of the two. So you're going to want to think about what happens with the blackouts or brownouts. And you have a heat wave. How are you going to stay cool? I remember stories my grandparents used to tell me. They would cover their windows and rooms in wet sheets. They'd soak them down with water. That way, when the wind blew through, it would cool down the air, so they would stay cool. If you don't have power, you can't run fans or anything like that. So a good emergency generator of some sort, whether it be gas powered or whether it be electric, it would be good to have that option on hand. Oh, we lost Mark. But that's just things we want to think about in the preparedness space. With everything you need to be, you're not going to be prepared for everything. And there's no possible way, unless you are a multi-millionaire and just have money to throw at it. But there are ways to do this on a budget. You know, times are tough, things are tight. You know, you can get a good start of a kit built for $25. I did it a couple weeks ago. I did a $25 challenge, and I didn't get a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I had a good start. I had my shelter. I had a little bit of food. I had fire starter. I had water. I had ways to filter water. I'm trying to think of all what I did. I had it in the video, but pick your scenario. There he is, coming in.
Sorry, Cox went offline. I had to switch over to AT&T.
All right, Jess, we'll see you. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, I mean, pick your scenario in your brainstorming or wargaming, however you want to describe it. Go worst case scenario, as bad as you think it might get. Prepare for that scenario. Like I said, you're not going to be prepared for everything, but the general rules apply. You'll be able to be prepared for most outcomes if you go worst case scenario.
Absolutely. And keep in mind that no matter how well you prepare for worst case scenario, you're going to forget something. So do have the barter options available, because somebody will have what you need.
Right. And something to really think about, and I'm pretty sure Mark and I have beat this horse I don't know how many times.
It's a skeleton now.
The knowledge. Get the knowledge up here. Paper, hardback books, physical copies. You know, have the knowledge of stuff. If you don't have the time to learn it, get the knowledge. Have it on hand. That way, when the time comes, it's at your disposal.
Yep. There's books on home repair, car repair.
Yep.
Making your own generators, filtering your own water. Hardback books of them.
Yep.
Natural remedies, how to make your own medicine. Get them and have them. Hopefully you will never, ever need them.
Right.
But if you do, then that could save you or someone you care about.
Right.
Or your whole community.
Right. Right. You know, and that's just it. I mean, you got to have the community at hand, just because there's no way you're going to have all the knowledge that you need. But your neighbor might have some knowledge that you don't have. Pretty sure he doesn't, or he does. But that's where your community comes in. But let's kind of want to start wrapping up here. But I want to ask you guys this: what do you need? What do you need to do now to prepare? Like I said, pick a scenario, go worst case scenario. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm not trying to fear monger or anything like that. But go worst case scenario. Plan for that worst case scenario. And I promise you, if you do that, you are going to be farther along down the road and have a better chance of making it through that situation.
Right.
You know, granted, you know, if it's a flash flood and the river rises 24, 25 feet in a matter of minutes.
Hours, yeah.
Not a lot you can do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot you can do with that.
But say you've done your prep, you're sitting pretty here, and nothing happens to you, but your Aunt Millie 2 towns over has something happen. You can either help her or invite you to your house. You have the extra supplies and whatnot to alleviate that.
Right.
So not only are you helping yourself, potentially you're helping others. It's just something to think about.
Yep.
Neighbor's
ultimately,
house
that's what it
burns
comes
down.
to. Yep. That's what it comes down to, is helping each other. You cannot be a lone wolf.
No,
You'll never make
can't
it.
do it by yourself.
And that's why I've really tried to involve my kids into a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, practically letting them learn, have that knowledge. I'm going out on a limb and trying new things to see if it works. I've seen you guys have probably seen the video where somebody's lighting a crayon on fire and it's supposed to last for half an hour, right? Just an example of something I tried. They're saying you can use, your Crayola crayons as a candle. It didn't work. It didn't light on fire. All it did was melt it.
Yep. Could you make a candle with it?
You probably could. You could probably melt it down, put a wick in it. Absolutely.
Yep. Can you make a wick on your own? Yes, people did it for thousands of years. But it won't burn by itself.
No. But yeah, I've seen the videos where people are using crayons, lighting them on fire. This will burn for half an hour. No. So I tried it. And it didn't work. It just melted everywhere. Anyway, we kind of just wanted to touch on this subject to really think it through and talk through it. With that being said, if it happens, tomorrow or whatever, are you going to be able to adapt? Are you going to have the knowledge and the skill set to adapt and the supplies and the gear that you might need if you have to bug out, if you have to, or if you're going to bug in? Do you have what you need to bug in?
Yep.
I've come to the realization that mine, aside from maybe Yellowstone or something like that, or a tornado or something that wipes out my entire, property or whatever, I'm going to bug in. Because I've got animals that I can rely on for food. I've got, I can't really say we have a garden because it didn't do worth a crap. We got flooded out. But we have the ability to get things that we need to survive right here where I live at, if we don't have it stored. That's something, just food for thought. Really think about bug in, bug out. What are your options? Do you live in the city? Can you get out? It's no surprise that I'm not a city guy. I can't stand cities. But if you live in a city, where are you going to go? If you choose, you got to bug out. Where are you going to go?
Right.
Because if you don't own property and you don't know anybody that's out, in the rural areas, where are you going to go? You need a plan for that now. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Something to think about. I don't really have much more.
I don't either. I don't either. Something to consider, though, those of you who are fortunate enough to own an RV, you may find it. You may not want to bug out and leave town, but you may want to leave your house and actually live in the RV because it is easier to heat, cool, and power.
Or Enzo's van.
Or Enzo's van. I'm going to go stay with Enzo. We're going to camp out in his van. We're going to bring some spray paint, right free candy on the side.
Right.
Been teasing him about that for a week. He's going to strangle me.
Right. But Yeah, folks, that's really all that we've got tonight. Again, we appreciate you guys, and we thank you for listening. And don't forget to join us. Enzo says, man, ain't built for visitors. Stay out. But don't forget, here in a couple of weeks, we're doing our 5-year anniversary show. Jess is on board. Hopefully Pam will be here. Hope she'll be able to make it. I mean, hopefully Ben and Joe will be able to make it. I mean, it's going to be a pretty fun topic to talk about and really war game and speculate, because ultimately that's what it's going to be, because it's never officially been experienced.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, we appreciate it. You guys hanging out with us in the chat. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. With that being said, thanks and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.